Hello and welcome to today's episode of Thrive After 45. I'm Denise Drinkwalter, heart whisperer, midlife mirror, and mentor. And every week I am honored to share energy and space with inspiring guests whose stories reflect so many possibilities of thriving beyond 45. Together, we'll uncover the whispers of the heart, the power of midlife transformation, and the wisdom that fuels expansion. What if the voices that stay with us the longest aren't the loudest, but the ones that listen deeply, speak honestly, and remind us that hope is still possible? It is such an honor and a privilege to welcome Cheryl Holling to our conversation today. Cheryl is a podcast producer, host, and voice talent whose work is grounded in authenticity, warmth, and a genuine love for human connection. With over 5 years in podcasting and a voiceover journey spanning more than 4 decades, she brings both seasoned experience and an ever curious heart to everything she does behind the mic. She's the creator, producer, and host of the award winning podcast, 19 Stories from Fear to Hope, a show that opens the door to honest conversations with creative pioneers in voiceover, music, broadcasting, writing, and coaching. Each episode invites listeners to face fear with courage, stay rooted in their faith, and remember they are not alone in their journey. With close to 12,000 downloads and multiple industry recognitions, 19 Stories has become a trusted space for real talk, resilience, and hope. And in 2023, Cheryl launched her second show, The Voice Kitchen, blending storytelling, food creativity, and connection with a dash of humor and heart. Because sometimes the most meaningful conversations happen when we gather and simply share. As a voice talent, Cheryl helps clients bring their creative vision to life through professional, emotional, resonant performances across commercials, radio, drama, industrials, retail campaigns, and podcasting. She's known for being collaborative, easy to direct, deeply present, and for bringing a steady, can do spirit into every project. At the center of all of her work is a deep belief in kindness, encouragement, and resilience of the human spirit. Cheryl doesn't just use her voice, she creates space for people to be heard. Please join me in welcoming the thoughtful, generous presence behind the mic, Cheryl Holling. So wonderful to have you here today.
What a beautiful introduction. Thank you so very much. It's so interesting being on this side of the mic as a guest because
Yeah.
I'm used to doing the introductions and I hear my guests often say, who is that? Who are you
Yeah.
describing? And I'm feeling the same way going, well, this is your life. And
Yeah.
so, so thank you. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I appreciate it.
Well, absolutely. And I wouldn't have it any other way because it's really important that all of our listeners understand the depth that you come to this conversation. You are a human being with a huge heart first. And that's what leads your life,
Thank you.
your conversation. So I am so grateful to have you here with us today for so many reasons.
And me too. I mean, this has been in the making. We met a while ago. Shout out to Andy Lyons because we met
Thank
through
you.
Andy, and
Yeah.
we've been talking about having this conversation for a while. And
Yeah.
so here we are. You in your nice warm, uh, you in your nice warm climate, and me in my freezing being
Yeah.
facetious. I'm in Northern California and you're in Toronto. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
those of you who are listening and not seeing on YouTube, I have a double sweater combo, and of course, underneath the sweater is like an undershirt because you still
mhm.
can't layer up enough in
Right.
Canada right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I almost wore my black turtleneck, but I thought, you
Oh,
know what? Can't go there when I'm talking to someone across the border and they're really dealing with some inclement weather. So, delighted to be here. Thank you so much, Denise.
absolutely. Before podcast titles, voice work, recognition that's coming as it should because of your
Thank
work is
you.
so empowering.
Thank you.
What do you feel life was maybe quietly preparing you for through the experiences that you've lived?
Wow, that's such a great question. And the simple answer for this moment right here, where I'm at, this
Mm,
conversation. In the bigger picture, it's interesting when you say 4 decades of doing voiceover, it has
right?
not been linear. It has not been consistent. It has
Mm-hmm.
been very circuitous
Yeah.
as anyone in entertainment or in the performing arts. For some people, it's linear. Some people, they come out of the womb. Here's your mic. They're off to go. They're off to the races.
Right.
Um, I think it's prepared me for where I'm at right now at
Mm,
this stage in my life. I am I'll just say it. I'm a couple
yeah.
decades over 45.
Yep.
So to say that and be
Yeah.
okay with that is empowering for me and hopefully for someone else because we have been and gosh, I didn't mean to go off into this, but
No,
I
this
think
is
with the
great.
okay,
Yeah.
I I think we've been so age shamed
Mm,
as if
yeah.
you if you haven't or even if you have done something
Mm,
by a certain age, that by the time you cross a certain threshold, I think especially for women,
mm-hmm.
and I believe this is probably one of the incentives as to why you started this podcast, is
Right.
that somehow we're not relevant or we're not useful or our voices don't hold weight or they don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finally going at,
Mm,
and I'll just say it, I turned
yeah.
65 in December. I'm finally owning that no, all of this experience, the good, the bad, everything in between, has prepared me for such a time as this. Hopefully that answers your
I
question.
love it. It absolutely does. And it opens up a door through the next conversation that I want to move it to, which is age and experience are on our side, aren't they?
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So,
certainly hope so. Some people get older and they don't learn a thing.
right?
Let's just get real about it, right?
Absolutely. And that's their choice.
Mm-hmm.
Totally their
Mm-hmm.
choice. The concept, and you said, I think that's maybe why you brought the show in, was to make sure women is our target audience. Our conversations are not only for women, but they land for us in particular because we are talking about our experiences through the lens of our lives as women. And so, what I find so enlightening is that we are talking about thriving after 45. We know that that number was a number that landed for me to show women that you don't have to just thrive after 45. We know we can thrive before that.
Mm-hmm.
But the outside world definitely tells us, oh, you're hitting that mark. This is, thanks for your
Thanks for
contribution.
sharing.
You can go now.
Yeah.
No, we're not going anywhere. We're getting bigger, stronger, and
Mm.
more rooted in who we are. And so I love what you're saying because congratulations on 65.
To
I'm
hear you say it, I'm
right.
like, what?
Love it.
What? How is that even possible? But yes, thank you.
Isn't
Thank
that
you.
true? I lay awake sometimes at night thinking, how can I actually be 62? That like
Mm.
that's not computing for me because I feel not 62, whatever that feels like. In my
Right,
mind,
right.
how we were taught what 62 looks like and
Oh,
should be like.
honey, yes. Yes, exactly. The rocking chair, the knitting needles, nothing. Yeah. Hey, no offense to people who knit. I know very young people who knit. I wish I could knit. But yes,
Yeah,
I understand.
absolutely. And so we get to choose what we are going to do day after day, year after year,
Hmm.
decade after decade. And that gets to change and morph as we become stronger and knowing who we are as a person, right?
Yeah, and it's so funny that you picked 45 because I actually loved 45. I was the most, not saying that I'm not empowered now, but there was
Hmm.
something about turning 45 and where I was at my life that I
Hmm.
surprised. 40 was a little weird for me. 45, I was really empowered. So it's
Mm,
so interesting that you picked this age
yeah,
because I just see it getting richer and more yeah, just richer. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's all in how we choose to frame it,
Hmm. Oh,
right?
anything is. Yeah, at any
Yeah,
age, sure, of
yeah,
course.
totally, totally. Because, like you've said, the good and the not good, the bad and the ugly all exists because we're human and we have that experience.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
what we do with that at the end of the day as
Yes.
to how it's going to help shape what we are going to do with this new information, with this new experience, with this new opportunities that are sitting in wait, really.
Mm, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Tell us about your 2023. What happened in 2023 that made you say, I want to put into practice another podcast? Here's what I want to do. Tell us how this came about.
The second podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had nothing else to do. Um,
Aha.
mhm.
Aha.
um, well, if I may, I'll back up to where
Yes,
19 Stories came from.
please do. Yeah.
Um, I had been sitting on another podcast idea for, well, let's see, from the time I turned, well, really, okay, I'll go back to my father had a cable television show for 16 years called Alive After 65. And that was up
Okay.
until about 6 or 8 months prior to dying, passing at 92. And he would interview people all the way up to the eldest person he had was 104.
Wow.
And she was a yoga teacher. She was like German yoga teacher. She's like, if you
Oh.
don't, yeah, I'm not going to try do my German accent now, but if you don't exercise, you don't eat. I mean, that was her philosophy. You've got to exercise every day. Really, really thriving. But he called it alive after 65 because if you really think society thinks people are dead after 45, try
Yeah.
65, right?
Right.
So he passed, and I was, I think, 48 at the time. And I sat on this idea of thrive after 55 because I thought, well, let me pick an age that I was already past 45.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted it to be an homage to my dad and the stories that he told
Hmm.
because he
Mm-hmm.
comes from a generation, World War II vet, of where stories really mattered,
Yeah.
where people sat around the dinner table, multi-generational, and they told stories, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes by the time it got around the table, it was completely different story than
Yep.
now, right? And you've heard it a million times, but um, so many of those stories weren't recorded.
Mm.
So when he passed, I had been sitting on this idea, sitting on this idea, sitting on this idea, and so when COVID hit,
Right.
I was like, you know what? It is no longer about thriving after 55. I've got to pivot on this and address the fear that people were feeling. It's 19
Mm.
stories from fear to hope.
Mm-hmm.
It 19 stories was a nod to COVID-19, and I originally was
Mm.
thinking of calling it the audio journal, an audio journal of the times that we're going through, but I called it 19 stories from fear to hope to talk to creatives
Mm-hmm.
and other people who had their life adversely affected by the pandemic, who were facing
Mm.
unbelievable fear, like a lot of us were around the world, but
Mm-hmm.
not sitting in that. Let's
Right.
move from that fear into hope, because that's what's going to pull us through.
Right.
And if I
Yeah.
might digress for a quick
Yeah.
second, not to get
Please.
political, but I am here in the United States. And if you don't think that our country's filled with fear right now, and
Hmm.
I'm sure we're helping Canada deal with some, we're spreading some of that your way.
Yeah.
Hope is what's going to pull us through.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
pivoted
Hmm.
that on that idea. And now, almost 6 years later, I'm still doing that story. And then a couple of years, 3 years after I launched 19 Stories, I
Hmm.
thought of my mom, who passed actually 3 months after my dad. And I
Wow.
thought
Hmm.
of what her stories were, and the nurturing, and her career, and food, and her love language. And I thought of, well, in regards to voice talent, I interview voice talent on 19 Stories, but what about, and I talk about the stories being shared around the kitchen table,
Mm-hmm.
the voice kitchen, where recipes and voice talent blend, of inviting a voice talent into a virtual kitchen and having a conversation about their favorite family recipe, what it means to them,
Oh, wow. Hmm.
the stories behind it, if
Yeah.
it's a new recipe for their new family, or if it's been handed down through generations. So that's where that came from. And it was, so one is kind of an homage to my dad, one is an homage to my mom, and here I am,
Love
still
it.
doing it. Yeah.
And you know what's coming through really loud and clear is you're sharing all those passionate starting. What's the seed that was planted to
Mm,
make these move forward? What's coming through for me very loud and clear is the need, the value, the foresight of connection.
mm. Thank you for saying that, because yes, I mean, we're in our booths, we're in our
Yeah,
homes, we're in
yeah,
our, a lot of people, solopreneurs or
yeah.
entrepreneurs, they work from home now. And
Hmm.
connection, that's why, with the power of podcasting, for me to be able to join you,
Mm,
I'm here in Northern California, you're in Toronto, we're
yeah.
connecting over, I mean, who don't we all wish we had invested in Zoom?
Well,
But right, but we're connecting
yeah,
this way, and yes, now
yeah.
more so than ever, the
Oh,
connection. Thank you for
yeah.
picking up on that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I love, as soon as you shared your your concept around voiceover kitchen, what lit me up inside is something that has always been a part of my life from I, the day I can remember to now is where do people congregate is in the
Mm,
kitchen.
mm-hmm.
And that has never been lost on me. I know it's been lost in society at large, but if
Yeah.
we can go back to a shared space around filling our souls and filling our bodies, what a
Mm.
beautiful combination. So, thank you for the virtual foundation that you're providing through that because I think it's so valuable and
You're
so
welcome,
needed.
and thank
Yeah.
you for saying that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think so. We all have the memories. Hopefully, we
Oh,
have the memories
yeah.
of what it means. Even when you're halfway out in the parking lot saying goodbye, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What? I just heard there was pie. Is there
Yeah.
pie?" And I'm coming back in, and then you're all back in the kitchen, back in the hallway, and then you're
Absolutely.
coming back maybe for third. So yes,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that.
So true. And it's funny because what's coming up for me is when our kids were like early teens, 16, 17, we had a rule because I was seeing these electronic devices
Mm,
taking kids' attention. And we had a rule in our house where there was absolutely, whether you were in a restaurant, whether you were at our meal for supper, like a supper meal or a lunch or wherever in our house for a meal, all devices went in the middle of the table,
yes, yes, wonderful.
face down. If you couldn't turn it off, I can't make you turn, I want them turned off, but if you couldn't turn it off because whatever, still had to be upside down. In a restaurant setting, if you had to answer, you paid the whole bill.
Well, that's an incentive for kids not to answer their phone. No, wow. Take note, parents. Take note. Take note. That's fantastic.
It
But you know
worked.
what? I love that you did that because there have been times that, and I'm guilty of, I'm look, I'm a foodie also. I live in Northern California. It is a food culture. If I had a beautiful meal, I'm taking a picture of it.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
reason I love what you did is because my husband and I have been out and we'll see teens at a table, right? Maybe 5, 8, 10.
mm-hmm.
Now, when we were growing up, I'll just speak for
Yes,
myself, and my husband said the same thing. If you got a group of young boys and girls together,
yeah,
what are you interested in as a young girl? Most of them,
mm-hmm.
you're interested in boys. What are
Mm-hmm.
boys interested? But instead of, and some of these young men and women are like knockout athletes, but they're all at the table. I happen to
Yeah,
have it but they're all at the table like
mm-hmm.
this.
Yeah,
And
head
we're
down.
looking,
Yeah,
going, are you at? Hello. Look who's in front of you. Look
yeah,
at the opportunity you're missing. So I'm glad that you
yeah,
that you did that. That's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. It's, I mean, what that was like 17, 18 years ago now. I mean, when they were first new, right? And it just was something we felt very strong. And I, former educator, principal,
Uh-huh.
hey, I make a rule. Oh, it gets followed through on.
Don't mess with mom.
Yeah, yeah.
She know you can't pull any. So how are they now? I mean, are they cognizant of that as adults? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Still, in their 30s. Our youngest is 30. And so, still very busy at that
Mhm.
age and stage of
Sure.
life. So, but boy, when we come together, and it's not very common, we're all together in the same room at the same time because we're across the nation. We're not all in one central location.
Mm.
So
Okay.
when we do get together, it's such value time.
I love that.
It's
That's beautiful.
so, yeah, it's so important and we love it because it's rare, but when it happens, um we're in the room. When we're in the room, we're in the room. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what you do with your shows, bringing people connections through conversation and experiences is just such a beautiful way to help tether the importance of human relationship and the value that it
Thank you.
has.
I,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I know
Yeah.
you, as a fellow podcaster, there may be times you feel what's called pod fade in podcasting. And I will tell you, it is sometimes we put our material out there and our conversations out there, and we never know if people are listening. I mean, I happen to know, I'm very fortunate. I'm sure you get feedback as well. But wow, when you do an episode, and maybe you don't hear any we look at our stats. I mean, for people who aren't in
Sure.
podcasting,
Oh,
we have stats. We
absolutely.
can see who's listening. If
Hmm.
you have more detailed stats, you can see where they're listening worldwide.
Right.
But I might have an episode out there for months, and
Hmm.
then I'll get an email
Mm.
or I'll get a review about that particular episode, about
Yeah.
how a morsel of that conversation helps someone at exactly the right time. And I've
Hmm.
always said, I really believe if it's for an audience of one,
Hmm.
really,
Yeah.
if it helps one person in their day,
Yeah.
then I feel like I've been of service, and it makes it all worthwhile.
Cheryl, what you're talking about really resonates. And for me, I haven't hit that wall of, I
Just wait.
okay, I
No,
will
or maybe not.
because
Maybe not.
I don't, what I find, I get to meet so many incredible human
Mm-hmm.
beings
Mm-hmm.
from around the globe that I would never,
Right.
ever have a chance to in any other way. And what a gift, because I leave every conversation more fulfilled every time,
I feel the same way. I feel
right?
the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
So it's such a win-win. And I love having real, authentic conversations with people who are in the room to be present throughout our time together, just like yourself. Yeah.
Yay. Yes.
So you mentioned about, m- didn't I don't think you said specifically legacy, but your father's memory, your mother's memory.
Hmm.
When it's all said and done, what would you most like to be remembered for?
I love that question because it's not only a question, an answer for you. For you asking me that, it makes me think, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can tell you if you asked me even a couple of years ago,
Yep.
it would be different than it is now.
Mm,
Certainly would be different 20, 30 years ago.
yeah.
But I mean this as sincere as I as your question is.
Hmm.
I think now, both because of having not always been that in my life. I've always had
Hmm.
an awareness of what our language and our words mean to people because
Right.
I have been hurt by words, but I
Mm,
guess right now I would really love to be remembered as being kind and
mm,
being an encourager.
hmm.
That to me is probably more important than whatever awards I've been winning or whatever accolades because that we know that it
Right.
doesn't go with us as we've heard the term you will never see a U-Haul behind a Hertz. It's just
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think if I would want when someone thinks of me that they would again think
Hmm.
remember kindness and encouragement.
I love that. And I love how you shared how it's changed over time.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And that tells me how much uh, introspective person you are, but also how much you have grown over the years. And what a beautiful gift to give yourself,
Thank you. Thank
right?
you. And I think that's also having come from the being the
Hmm.
descendant of the folks that I come from and their kindness
Yeah.
and their encouragement. And at a time, there's still beautiful people in the world.
Yeah.
You're one of them. I'm sitting and having a lovely conversation with
Mm-hmm.
one of them. But we are, excuse me, we are
Mm-hmm.
seeing a, you know, we're seeing a lot right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And we need more kindness and encouragement.
And I think we're being called to,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh,
Called
yeah.
to show and model what is possible through the muck and the mire. Because we have
Yes.
choices. We have
Mm.
choices, as we talked about at the beginning. We have choices of what we want to do and how we want to live our lives. And if we live our lives through our truth lens,
Mm.
and adapt and change as required when things are reflected back and we go, oh, nope, that isn't what I should. I get to change that script. Need to reframe that in a different way so that it comes out the way that I want to be remembered by and for.
On a
So,
daily
yeah.
basis, too. I mean,
Oh,
as I've said it, I'll say it again because
yeah.
I almost feel like, in some ways, when I'm the guest, I feel like it's a confessional because I will stink up the room. I will.
Yeah.
There have been times that I just because I do my inventory. You were spot
Yeah.
at the end of the day. I go,
Yeah.
how did I move through my day? Was I
Hmm.
kind? Was I
Yeah.
whatever? Or what? We all have an aroma we leave with people. And I don't mean,
Uh,
yeah, sometimes it's literal, but I
yep.
mean an
Yeah.
aroma of an essence of who we are.
Yeah.
And did we leave a beautiful fragrance or
Yeah.
did someone go, I'm so glad there's,
Mhm.
oof, couldn't wait for that to be over,
Yeah.
that encounter to be over. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh, 100%. What I love about what you're saying, I like to take it even deeper and not only how you left others, but how did you leave yourself?
Ooh, that's good.
How
That's good.
kind were
Yeah,
you to yourself? How encouraging were you to yourself?
that's good. Ooh, that's
Right?
although I can watch this back, I'll take notes. That's good. Yeah.
Because we leave ourselves out of the script, right?
Ooh,
We're
yeah, yeah.
always kind of doing for everybody else, which is another reason why I have these conversations because I want women to understand that when we leave ourselves at the door and do for everyone else, we are not showing up fully. And so now is the
Wow.
opportunity to.
You hit the nail on the head, Denise, because
Mhm.
it's like we've heard it said before, the oxygen mask as it
Mm,
drops down, because if you don't do your own
mhm.
breathing your life breath, how on earth are you going to show up fully
Yeah,
for other people? So that's
absolutely.
beautiful. That's beautiful that, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, it really anchored in one time. I have to share this story with you
Oh,
because
please
it's
do.
so funny. Principal of the building, the fire department comes to do a drill.
Hmm.
I always know sometimes they trick us and they put a little pretend flame and lock the door so the kids can't go out that section. So
Really?
they have to
Things have
reroute.
changed since I. Oh my gosh.
So
Wow.
the one group got rerouted,
Hmm.
no problem. Head count, everybody gives the signal, and there's one child missing because they said, "Come with me," right? So the fire chief, is everything good, Principal Drinkwalter? And I'm like, Ma, I'm just a mess. Knowing this is a pretend drill, but I went into fright. Like I'm like, I've lost a kid. This isn't okay. So I went to him and I said, "No, we have a child missing from this class." And he said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I got to go back in and get them." And he looked at me and
There's a
no,
fire. Don't you
yeah,
know there's a
no, you
fire?
won't.
Yes.
Right? I would put myself at risk when all of
Mm.
these experts were standing here having, and that was like, doof, hello, safety first for you, right? And that's something that has always been a new guiding force for me. Wait a minute, am I filling myself up first? My own cup first before I start to give to others, right? And so when we put ourselves in panic mode, we go back to, not always ourselves first, but that is okay to do. Look after you, and then everyone else benefits from that.
And yet, if I may add to that,
Hmm.
you were willing to lay down your life to find that child. And
Yeah.
without getting too biblical, I mean, he
Yeah.
and with and then not knowing your faith, Jesus left the 99 to get the one. And
Right.
as a principal, your heart and also the
Oh,
mother in you, right?
oh,
The mother in you going, I am not going to let this
yeah.
child
Yeah.
be by the way, so where was the child? Where was it?
Came out with the other firefighter who had taken him, and they came out the doors. It's like, okay, you can check my heart rate now because,
Really? Hello? Could you not have told me that before I ran back into the burning building that you
right?
had the Oy oy oy.
Well, they didn't let me go in. He grabbed my arm and said, "Denise, we're here."
Okay.
I was, "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah." He said, "I know you wouldn't have, but I need you to really think about that, right?
Mhm.
Because you've got a responsibility to all, including yourself." Right? So it was
Yeah.
just one of those, automatically put everybody else first. And then when we do that, we're the last of the list, if even on it.
Mhm.
And as we learn about thriving after 45 and beyond, we begin to understand the importance, value, and power in giving back to ourselves first.
That we
Yeah,
matter. That we matter.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good. That's a good
Yeah.
story. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. Still, I can remember the day. It's just one of those memories that you never lose, right?
Mhm.
Is there a conversation that you've had as a host, or maybe just being Cheryl, that you remember has actually changed you? And then how did
Oh.
it alter the way you listened or showed up in
Oh
the world
wow.
even now?
Ooh. I and this, wow, that stumped me a little bit because I'm fortunate that I've had numerous conversations that have
Mm-hmm.
changed me.
Mm.
In allowing, there is an art to really listening
Mm-hmm.
versus I heard you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of like if you have a conversation with your spouse and maybe they're preoccupied and you said, I crashed the car, and they go, oh, well, oh, yeah, well, just be careful backing up next time. I go, well, did you hear me? I crashed.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's a weird example, but I've had numerous conversations where people have really opened up to me
Mm-hmm.
because not that I've gone for a sensationalistic question to get an answer, to take
Yep.
advantage of a situation, but I felt, not but, however, I felt that that was a story or something they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And so I took a chance in
Mm-hmm.
asking the question, and by their response, it taught me of maybe how to
Mm.
move through a situation with grace, or how to be more forgiving, or how to apply a business,
Mm-hmm.
implement that into something I haven't tried before, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, as far as one particular one, it's not a cop out to say I've had numerous, because I really have. I'm very,
Right.
very fortunate and very grateful that I've had numerous ones.
Right. Yeah.
And more times than not, when I am experiencing like pod fade of,
Mm-hmm.
wow, podcasting can be hard at times because at least at this point, I haven't farmed out my editing or my
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
research or anything else.
Right.
And but then I will go back and listen to a conversation that I
Mm-hmm.
went, this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it
Mm.
because it fed me
Right.
again. So if it fed
Yes.
me again, then perhaps it's also feeding others.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so hopefully that
I love
answered your
that.
question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
You know what's coming up for me as you're sharing is there is a real art and a real talent to listening.
mm, mm-hmm,
And when we listen to understand and not listening to respond, the game changes, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I
Absolutely.
love that's why I love having conversations with people because I love listening to understand, to deepen my understanding and make sure I really heard what I heard and where I didn't hear it properly. I desire people to reframe so that I really understand where people are coming from.
And
Yeah.
now more than ever. And
Mm,
I'm sometimes I'm bad at this. Sometimes I do operate in a echo chamber
mm-hmm.
where I need to hear something that reaffirms my beliefs
Yeah.
because the alternative is too much to even
Right.
bear or comprehend.
Yeah.
However, I do know that unless we learn, as I will say for my country right now,
Mm-hmm.
where we're at, or
Mm-hmm.
just even in society, to have
Mm-hmm.
difficult conversations, like you said, with really the interest to understand
Yeah.
versus being right,
Right.
versus I've
Exactly.
got my opinion and you are not going to, I need you to give me something that agrees with me.
Yeah.
We are never going to open the divide. Now, having said that,
Mm-hmm.
there are people you don't allow because
Right.
they're dangerous and they're hurtful and
Yes.
they're not good conversations.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. And totally fair and understand that 100%. Yeah. Um, it's all about the connection piece again, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Really. It
Mm-hmm.
comes down to being available to connect in a way that allows us to learn about
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and about others in and amongst the world that we live in.
Yeah.
And what a,
Hope.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, what an opportunity, right?
If we realize that life is really, it's a lifelong,
Mm.
we're talk about Miss Principal. We're life is school,
Yeah.
right? And hopefully, we're learning till our last breath, learning about ourselves, learning about the world, learning about each other, learning about our passions, our podcasting, whatever. Because I think the moment we stop
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
is when we stop, when
Yeah.
when we get stuck. And
Hmm.
yeah, anyway,
No,
I don't need to go on a sermon about it. So I
no, you
really
know
appreciate
what?
it.
I'm smiling because that's exactly what I say. If I stop learning, my vision is that that'll be my last breath because
Mm,
that's what I
mm,
believe life to
mm.
be. Um, there is no finish line in learning in life, right? That's how I view it.
Excuse
So,
me.
yeah, yeah. I knew we were going to have such a deep, incredible, connected conversation. I just knew it. I'm so grateful.
I'm grateful too. I'm grateful too. Thank you. Thank you so very
Yeah.
much.
Is there anything you would love to share with our audience before we wrap up today's conversation about thriving after 45 and doing it for you, by you, because of you?
I think you just answered that question. Well, no, really. Well, I will say it's really important to define what thriving means for you.
I love that.
I can't tell Denise, I cannot tell you what it
Yeah.
means to thrive for you. I only
Yeah.
know what it means. Like I said, my definition has
Hmm.
changed.
Yeah.
My definition of what would want my legacy to be.
Hmm.
I think we need to make that decision and define that for ourselves because, in social media, as beautiful as it is,
Hmm.
we also see the best curated life of other people. And
Yeah.
we want to present our own lives that way as well.
Hmm.
But you could be 45 and be burnt out on the grind and realize
Hmm.
that is not the direction you want to go in.
Hmm.
You could be 65 and go,
Yeah.
I have never felt more creative and alive, and I am going to go for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And there's no one out there to tell me otherwise.
Hmm.
But so it's not, thriving is not age related.
Mm.
So, so that's the first thing. Thriving's
Yeah.
not age related. And
Hmm.
then secondly, please define what it means for yourself and don't let someone else define that for you. Like you're not doing enough, you're doing too much. You shouldn't be, who are you to dream this at this age? Who are you not to dream this at this
Hmm.
age? So,
Hmm.
so yeah, define it for yourself
Yeah.
and know that it's not age related.
Yeah.
That's,
Love that.
I guess,
Thank you.
those two things.
And I would love to add, just as you shared, it can change and morph over time, and that is
Yes.
absolutely fine. It doesn't have to be.
Hmm.
But I said when I was 50, I was doing this. It's okay. It might be
Yes.
55 or it might take a turn to the left, and that's okay too, because who knows what that path will show you as you move along. You have the
Right.
power to make the decisions to make those changes as life comes forward for you,
And
right?
reveals maybe
Yeah.
something so beautiful that you never considered. Or at the same time, if I may put this out there,
Hmm.
you know, pe- because you're on a certain path and maybe you've made momentum and maybe
Hmm.
you are into the term, and I really don't like it, but I know it under the grind, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And life happens. There's either a family emergency
Yeah.
or your children or your parents, especially if you're in the sandwich generation where your
Right.
parents are elderly and
Yeah.
your
Oh,
children
yeah.
are younger, and
Hmm.
something presents itself and you need to take time to take care of what's in front of you versus what you should be
Hmm.
doing.
Hmm.
That's something that's right there that demands your attention, and it doesn't mean if you let go of this for a while that
Right.
you won't course correct and get back on that path.
Hmm. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah. Life, like we've talked, not always linear, and that's
Mm-mm.
okay. That's okay. That's
No.
where the lessons and the growth gets to happen. The pain sometimes too, absolutely.
Yes.
Right? But it's all
Grieving,
part.
sorrow. Yeah, all
Yes.
of it. All of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be okay because you're going to be able to listen to 19 stories from fear to hope. And you're going to be able to listen to the kitchen. Help me. What's the name of the other?
The voice kitchen, where
Thank you.
recipes and
Yes.
voice talent blend.
There
Yes.
you go. The voice kitchen. And Thrive After 45, right?
Yes. I
Yeah.
and also get your nails done as beautifully as Denise. So you're not self-conscious about your undone nail. Yeah. Yes, and definitely after thrive after 45. Your midlife mentor, Denise Drinkwalter. So yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're out here and we are all about connection, conversation, and empowering through kindness and encouragement for sure.
Mm, beautiful.
Cheryl, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here today. What a gift to have this time with you. It's been so good. I'm going to call you back in a couple of years and we're going to see where it's changed in terms of what your legacy will be, because it will change, right? It
Mhm.
might even just deepen. It might not change, but it might grow deeper.
I
Who
hope I
knows?
can make my way to the mic. I don't know. How does this work? How do I turn it on? I
That
would love
that
that. I would love
we
that.
won't wait that long then. We'll
No.
just do it. We'll
Yeah.
just do
No, no.
it. Just kidding. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. And I really appreciate you creating this vehicle for people to come on
Mm,
and share their stories. I'm catching up on some of your episodes before we got on, and I
yeah.
just love the plethora of the diversity, I should say, of
Yeah.
women that you have on and their stories and what they're doing. And it's a beautiful venue that you've created, a opportunity for people to come on and have wonderful conversations such as this one. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm honored to have this opportunity to share space in this way. It's a blessing. Somebody would have asked me 3 years ago, 5 years ago, you're gonna host a pod. No, podcast? Me? What?
And yet here
we
you are.
we
Here you
don't
are.
know. We don't know, right?
Mm-mm. It's being open. Yeah, being open and to
Yeah.
the leading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, being available is really important. And we can't do that if we're following others' scripts. So when you
Woo.
do things for you, by you, because of you, these types of shifts get to happen. So, like you shared, whatever thriving is for you is what you get to move towards. Yeah, nobody decides that for you, it's yours. Yeah.
Because shift happens.
There you go. Doesn't it? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. Before we close, I do want to share something gently. I'm currently stewarding the early formation of a live in person experience called Ignite the Inner Uprising. And
Mm-hmm.
it's being created for women in midlife who feel that quiet pull towards something more truthful, embodied, more their own. It's not an event that I'm rushing or loudly promoting. It's being built really slowly with care and deep respect for the women in midlife whom it's meant to serve. So, if your body leaned in at any point today during our conversation, if something here resonated beyond just words, I want you to know this: there will be a place to come and gather. So, for now, simply stay connected, follow, share, like, give us your reviews so that more women can find us. And when the timing is right, you will hear more. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. And we are here to thrive after 45.